about that bad penny that keeps showing up, and another bad penny keeps showing up. This investigative committee, which the House of Representatives, the Speaker, has done another one. He's done several of these now, because taxpayers want to know what was happening with this restaurant, tourism, and sole source contract. Something's not right. The Speaker says, let's have a committee and look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you could watch the news this week at all and not see something about Swadley's or the Foggy Bottom restaurant that's in a number of our state parks right now. It's a big issue. I think what is the most important is that there are hundreds of private-public partnerships that the state engages in with businesses, and most of them are just fine. Most of them are above board. If, in fact, that there has been some kind of corruption that has taken place with Swadley's, with the state, that needs to be found out. The investigative committee will look at the process to see. At the end of the day, it's really going to be up to what OSBI says and what the state auditor finds out. If there has been corruption there, they should find it out. Taxpayers need to know.
Right, and this is in full glare of the media. By the way, there's like third-party people involved, sole source contracts. A lot more of this out there not being reported on, but this one in full glare of the public.
Well, it's in full glare of the Republic because the legislature is doing its job watching out for taxpayer dollars. This all came about because LOFT, the Legislative Office of Fiscal Transparency, started doing an investigation into what was going on in the tourism department. Now, the Speaker, I'm very proud that he's announced this investigatory committee. It doesn't mean anybody's done anything wrong. It's just that. It's an investigation. There's no reason to believe the governor was involved, the lieutenant governor is involved, but here's what we know. This looks fishy, and the story keeps changing. We need to dig in there and figure out exactly what is going on, and we need to look after taxpayer dollars. This entire thing has been a win for fiscal transparency and bird-dogging taxpayer dollars by the legislature.
Well, I think this is the Speaker's third one of these, and so they're taking that seriously. All right, this was a deadline week. What's next?
Well, what you can expect at this point is the budget. So constitutionally, the legislature has to be done within a month. What we think will happen is the budget will roll out sometime in the next couple weeks. We'll vote on that. We still don't know what is going to happen as far as inflationary relief. We did see the GDP went down. Gross domestic product actually went down last quarter. What is happening on the national stage is just careening us towards economic disaster. I've continually called on the legislature. We have to get, and I'm pushing everything I can, we have to get some inflationary relief for our citizens. That's the next big shoe that I think is going to drop.
We should make it a coffee drinking game. Every time he says inflation, take a hit. My question to you is, you're watching this from a different position than you used to. What's next?
Yeah, I think what's next is we have about 4 weeks left constitutionally that the legislature can still be in session. I would imagine here in the next week, if not two, we'll see a full budget out that'll roll into what's called JCAB committees. Those different pieces of the budget will get voted on and then go from one floor to the next, House to the Senate. There are about 450 bills that are still left alive, and most of you are asking, well, if it's a deadline week, how are there any bills still left alive? There's something called conference committee, and bills that had title taken off that weren't yet finished are now going to go into a conference process. They're going to try and work it out if they can. If they can't, those bills will just go away. We'll vote on a budget, and we'll get out of here.
Interesting conference committees. Over the decades, it's so interesting. All right, coming up in our next half hour, what does Elon Musk and Oklahoma have in common? We'll tell you. Tesla fans and SpaceX fans. Is he SpaceX? I'm not really sure, but we're going to talk about Elon Musk. First off, I wonder if Oklahoma would have been able to do the lead actor Project Ocean without him putting that plant down in Austin, because, you know, the rumor is it's batteries. My question to you is, what does Elon have to do with Oklahoma?
Well, I think social media in general has to do with Oklahoma, and I think what could have been humanity's greatest invention might be the downfall of Western society. If you look on social media, one of the things we constantly call for on this show is civility inside the political process, and civility in how we treat one another. And frankly, Twitter's become a cesspool. It's become where people go to complain and gripe, and it's trended far, far, far left. Elon Musk is not exactly this staunch conservative, but I think he's someone who believes in free speech. I think we will find more moves like this with people saying, we're sick of these extremisms and we want free speech on all sides. I think it's great. I think it's a good thing.
Well, Ryan Welton, who's digital chief at Griffin, he said, you know, Twitter doesn't matter that much anymore, but it's sure a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah, well, what my colleague is referring to is Elon Musk spending about, I don't know, $44 billion to buy Twitter, take it private, and do who knows what with it. I would agree with my colleague that Twitter is a cesspool. I think the best thing that Elon Musk could do is just delete it and be done with it. That'd probably make society better. Look, if we all spent more time going next door and talking to our next door neighbor, hearing about their problems and concerns, spent more time asking people in our Sunday school class how their week was, if there's anything that we can do to help them. Basically, if we got more engaged with people in their actual lives instead of on social media, I think society would be a lot better.
See if you like this for a segue. I was watching Joe Rogan recently, and Elon Musk was on there token up. Okay, so our next one is Weekly Weeder. We've been talking about for a long time something being done this session about medical marijuana. Is it going to happen?
Yeah, the House has made a priority to get a number of bills passed off the House floor into the Senate for the governor to sign this year. A lot of policy that looks at making sure illegal activity is weeded out and that we have patient safety. Most of those bills are all still alive. Most of them have had title taken off as they continue to work out the details in that. There were a lot of marijuana activists up at the Capitol this week. I think there's still a lot of attention on this. End of the day, we need to make sure that there's product safety. I was really excited to see the OMMA bill that got passed to make them a standalone agency. Have a lot of confidence in their director. I think that's a really good move.
By the way, did you like the segue? Okay, so you're right there in the middle of this. You've said it's going to happen, is it?
Well, I also like weed it out for the bad actors. I see what you did there.
Bad, yeah.
But the biggest thing that happened this week is we passed Pro Tem Greg Treat's bill and my bill, the Senate bill, I was the author in the House, making OMMA a standalone agency. The director there, Adria, is doing a great job. And what we need to see happen on the future is more accountability there. We need to fund it, and we need to make it fair and do what the citizens wanted, which is they voted for legally and tested and safe products, and we need to get the illegal actors out. And making it a standalone agency, I looked in the camera and said several months ago, if you're illegal, we're coming for you. We see bust after bust after bust. You need to get out of Oklahoma.
Hopefully coming to a governor's desk near you. See this again at news9.com/YourVoteCounts and follow me on Twitter @MitchellTalks.